Welcome back to Oxtools. I'm Tom. So got a Meatloaf for you guys. I know many of the Oxen out there, the dedicated Oxen followers, have been dying for some Meatloaf. So let's hook you up with a batch of Meatloaf. I got some new tools. Some folks asked about my new truck that I got. There's a couple of things that I got on my list here. We'll go over and check some stuff out. So welcome back, and here's a batch of Meatloaf for you. All right, first one I want to show you guys is these hex wrenches, and these are not Bondus, so let's just get that right out of the right out of the gate. These are made by PB Swiss, Swiss company, and this is what they call their Rainbow Edition hex wrenches. Now, here's some regular Bondus here, and immediately you can see that they're considerably longer, which is actually really nice. And that's just a nice feature. And the main, I don't know, subtlety and improvement, I believe, is in the ball tip here. Okay, the color's cool. I don't know about you guys. I don't generally select or think about tools and color coded necessarily, right? Other than the red handle pliers or things like that. But some people are kind of color coordinated that way, and they said, oh hey, the red Allen wrench or the yellow Allen wrench, right? So I get it. So, and they look nice, right? Now they're pretty proud of these things. They're pretty expensive, and they're close to or at $100 for a set, which is kind of a lot for hex wrenches. But if you're a tool snob like me, aficionado, whatever you want to call it, sometimes you're just looking for those minor differences in tools that make them a pleasure to use, right? Okay, so let me just show you what the big advantage is on these, right? And maybe you'll think like the same way or think about them the same way I'm doing it. So same size, this is a 3/8 and a 3/8. We got a fastener here, right? So what I want to show you is the improved angle or angularity. Let's do it like this here. So I'm going to line that up with the mat here, and that's pretty much cocked all the way, right, as far as it'll go. So let's do this. Use that to orient it. Now I'm going to pop that out. All right, so I lay the Allen wrench down, and then we'll do the same with this one. So I'll get it nice and close. Okay. So what I want to point out is that difference in angle. Now it's not much. It's only a few degrees. Maybe, I don't know what the difference is there. It's a few degrees difference. That's a big deal when you're dealing with fasteners and the ball tip. And in particular, in this case, the Kurt Vise, removing the retaining screws for the jaws on the Kurt Vise, this extra angle, you don't have to open the jaws far, so it's kind of nice that way. So that's their kind of main benefit. They're long, they're color coded, and they're just nice in the hand. These are all machined here, although these are machined as well, I believe, or ground, I'm not sure. And these seem to be very hard, harder than this. Now I haven't checked them, but my sense is these are harder in relation to the Bondus. Maybe not. That's an opinion. That's not something that I've checked. The negatives here is they come they come in a holder kind of like this, a really lame holder, similar to this. Actually, it's wider. I just chucked that because it's no good for my purposes. And the main reason I chucked it was when you buy the set, here's the set. In fact, it's missing the 3/8, and it only goes up to 5/16. So that's a huge negative. You got to buy this one separately, and which I did. And then, of course, you want to keep them all together. So I put them in an old Bondus retainer. And then let's talk about the retainer for a second. Let's get rid of that. So I'm partial to these round ones. It's easier to access the whichever size that you want, and you don't have to. For example, if I want this one here, it would be really nice if I could just fold that up and slide it out. Well, I can't. I have to get two more of them out of the way before I can get at that one. Now, the only advantage is this is a flatter package and it fits in a drawer. So that's, but I don't know about you, but I use these all the time when I'm working, right? So they're out. So I want to be able to access those tools and be able to easily see when one's missing, right? And when I find one laying around, boom, I put it back in there, right? And I can grab any one that I want without futzing around. So now this is one I made, I don't know, probably 25 or 30 years ago at this point. It's made out of beryllium copper, which is a real hard copper alloy they use in mold making stuff. And it's a copy of this here. And you can buy these from McMaster. They're $3 or $4 or $5, something like that. But after a while, they break. So I kind of fell in love with that design, and I just copied it and made it out of a more durable material. Now, here's another nice thing, or nice, I don't know, nice. This is a really good little apprentice project here. So it's a little bit of lathe, a little bit of mill, a little bit of measuring and drawing exercise. It's fairly the position of those holes is actually pretty important in relation to the bottom of the groove that spring is sitting in. So it retains the tool, but still allows it to slide out, right? So you can't just willy-nilly drill those and expect it to come out, because it's a constant radius at the groove, and then these are positioned at different radii from the center to get the exact correct slip fit on that particular tool, right? So I usually start beginners out by putting this in the mill, and they actually just measure all the coordinates using an indicator and pins, and then they create an electronic drawing, and then grind a tool for the groove and actually measure this up, make a drawing, and actually make the part. And then they end up with something like this that they can have for 30 or 40 years. So it's kind of a good exercise, repetitive measuring and stuff. So anyway, PB Swiss Hex wrenches. There's only one distributor in the US that I know of that stocks these. And I'll put a link in the description. It's toollady.com, and like I said, I'll put a link in there, and or an address, and you guys can go check it out. I do recommend these. They're really, really nice, but kind of an extravagant tool or tool purchase. So these are a set of screwdrivers that I got from PB Swiss, and so you know, when I took apart that optical dividing head a couple of years ago, it was kind of interesting because, you know, it's pretty old-timey, and many of the screws were slotted screws, and you know, when slotted screws are frozen and really tight, they can be a real bugger to get out, right? So I ruined a bunch of screwdrivers to start with, and then I basically went through my whole inventory of screwdrivers trying to find ones that fit the, wide variety of slots that were there. So anyway, I got to kind of thinking about screwdrivers a fair amount. Anyway, so I bought some of these PB Swiss jobbers here, and they're actually really nice. This is it's kind of a cushion grip handle here, so it's it's not hard, but it's not super soft either. So you can really get a good purchase on that. And it's got an anti-roll, right? Got the hex for grabbing it with an end wrench here. But the tips are the magical part here, and they have parallel sides. They're machined. They have parallel sides, and then they slightly rounded these corners, which, if you're not perfectly axial to the screw, the tips tend to dig in and do bad things, right? So at least that's my theory. But the parallel sides are really one of the important things, right? So the slot in the screw is basically straight, right? And if you have a screwdriver, a normal, Snap-on or Craftsman or Stanley or whatever, right? They're slightly tapered, and so it's only really bearing, at a couple little points, right? So I think with parallel sides, you get better bearing. You get more. It's like a thicker keyway, on a shaft, right? You get more bearing of the driver on the flanks there. So like I said, I'm testing these. I'm pretty happy with these, and when I've got some stuck screws, I've been kind of reaching for these to try them out. I bought a set, and this is the largest one in the set, which is 10 millimeters, 1.6 thick. 1.6 thick, 10 millimeters wide, and 180 long, right? Okay, and then this is the littlest one in the set. Okay, that's what do we got here? This is how do I read that? 3.5. Oh, so it's 0.5 millimeter by 3.5. Okay, the tip of that, and then they're numbered too. And they have these nice targets for hitting them with the hammer. So anyway, like I said, jury's out on that. So if you're looking, for parallel blade screwdrivers, maybe you're doing gunsmithing where a buggered screw is really stands out and is a big no-no. We're not talking watchmaking here. Okay, these are way too big for that, but. Anyway, you might try them out if you think you might like that. I don't have any of the Phillips yet, but we may check those out. And then we'll take a look at this guy here next. So these guys, these are drive pin punches, and they're actually spectacular. And they're metric. They don't sell inch ones, or I probably would have bought the inch size ones. But I went ahead and got the metric ones, and honestly, I'm kind of scared to use them because they're so nice. So I can't really give them a proper trial review other than they're gorgeous and they're spectacular. So if that's good enough for you, then great. But let's feast your eyes on these little pups. And I mean, okay, so first impression is, ooh, right, pretty nice. And then the case is pretty sweet. And then, let's pop one out of its nest here and have a look, right? So it's got a hammering face, and this is the same, slightly soft grip that the screwdrivers have, anti-roll, of course, right, which is nice. They're I don't know, they're just really sexy. Not quite sure what's going on with this. Occasionally you get one wedged in there, and so I could see that potentially being, where you're pulling on it and you can wiggle it with a wrench or whatever to get it out, right? Why they have it on well, I don't know, maybe the whole thing's hex all the way through, I don't know. But, like, come on, get in there, okay. And then this one, what is this, 1 millimeter here? This is, it does not say, 0.2, what's that one, 0.5. I'm just looking at the part number, huh, that's interesting. Okay, so it doesn't have the size on it. I don't know, it looks like a 1.5 millimeter to me, something like that, but just the presentation, right? I mean, look, I even want to turn it with their name up, right? Let's see if we can find evidence of me using any of these, which I don't think I have yet. Yeah, none of them look like they've been clobbered by the likes of me anyway, so no. I'm pretty sure I used one of these. I don't remember which one, though. I don't know. I must have used it very gingerly. Anyway, this is kind of indicative of their quality of tools, right? And they sell a lot of different kinds of tools. A lot of bicycle mechanics use their stuff. Obviously, people that are from Europe are probably familiar with this brand. I know Kern Machines, their toolkits that they give their apprentices are loaded with these PB Swiss tools. They're a Swiss company too, so they're probably, across the creek from the PB Swiss factory. So anyway, these are just sweet. Like I said, once again, I haven't really used these, so I don't have any, strong opinions one way or the other. And let me grab my old Starretts, and we'll do a little comparison. So this is hardly a comparison here, right? These are Starretts, and somewhere it says Starrett on them. Well, it doesn't say it anymore. It says Lipton on them, but first thing is the case is a goner, right? And keep in mind, I've had these for a long time, okay? So we'll forgive Starrett and their crummy vinyl case, okay? And these are, if you're going to buy a set of drive pin punches, don't screw around with the short ones, get the long ones. They're way more useful. Now, the small ones, or the shorter ones, I should say, they go down to smaller diameters. That would be the only reason to get the smaller set. These are much more useful kind of across the board. And these are nice. Now, these have all been replaced over the years. So, in fact, this one looks pretty fresh to me. This one's got a little bend in it. I can see this turn in this here, right? And this one takes, see that one's got some clobber marks on it there. And you can see that one's got a little zinger in it. And it's just the nature of how you use this tool, right? You're knocking out a pin and, maybe some monkey drilled the hole, right? And the hole's, slightly curved through the shaft or whatever, and your pin's got to follow that, or your drive pin's got to follow that. These are much more reasonably priced than these. And they come in inch sizes, and you can buy them individually from McMaster Car. How do I know that? Because I've probably bought this one 3 or 4 times over the years, right? And I want to say they're $15 each, which is an okay price, right? And for a pretty quality tool. These are ground. They're ground a few thousandths undersize of nominal. And how do I know this? Like I said, I've had these for many years. So anyway, drive pin punches. All right, so it looks like rain calmed down a little bit. So the first thing is this Veto Pro Pack bag. My old electrical tool bag or whatever was one of these open top leather things. And I kind of outgrew it with all the goodies that I had in it, and I just needed something a little bit bigger. And so I ended up getting one of these. And you know what? I'm just going to keep going until it gets too loud here. So I'm real happy with this. I bought 2 of these. Well, I bought one for myself, and then I bought one for work, for doing little field jobs and stuff like that. And I bought the slightly larger one. And I'll tell you what, don't get the big one unless you're really young and really strong, because it's too heavy. You will load it all the way up, and then you'll have to lug that thing around. So this is about all I care to one hand and pick up and put in the back of the truck, and maybe haul up a ladder to another level or something like that. So pretty happy with this. It's got some really nice features, and a couple of little tiny kind of useless external pockets. One of the nice features, it's got a little snap here and a female snap here. And what you can do is open it partially, and I can't see the snap to do it, but you can open it partially so that you can get at your stuff, but it's still pretty secure. So kind of a nice feature here. And then on the opposite side, it doesn't have that, and it has just a different style of pockets. It's got a little stretchy pocket up here, which, you know, you struggle to find how your tools kind of go in here, right? And the tools that you want to have in here, right? There's never a perfect marriage, okay? Let me just put that out there for you. But let's go ahead and open this all the way up here. Good heavy duty zippers, you know, real happy with that part. And it's got a this heavy duty waterproof plastic bottom on it. So if you set it down in a puddle for some reason, or you're outside, it's not going to soak up inside there and ruin your tools and stuff. So let's see here. That's my meter, and then this is my go-to meter here for most stuff here, and nut driver, screwdriver, you know, stuff like that. This is a regular fluke meter here. I'm not going to pull that out. And then let's close that up. And you can see the zippers, even when it's got tension on it, they work fine. So let's go on this side. Tape looper. You know, these are things that you're grabbing all the time. Old man tweezers for when you drop the screws. And then it's got a real nice tape measure clip. And then, you know, my tickler is always on the outside. And then you always need some kind of marking thing, right? So let's, this is the side we want. So some of the new tools are in here, and we'll take a look at that. And you can see, you know, I got it kind of packed full of crud here. So let's see here. What do we want to look at? So really, these are new tools. The tools I'm showing are new tools to me that I've actually enjoyed using and found some good uses for, and that I want to share with you guys. Okay, so the first is, let's look at these here, and I'm going to set these on the table. And then the other thing in here is these guys. Okay, actually we'll compare the tips on those. So that's the Dykes. Jury's out on those, so you know what? I'm going to show those anyway. And then let's see what else is in here that I think that's it for this. And so let's take a look at some of these. So these needle nose or chain nose. Actually, you know what? I don't know what Snap-on calls these. But it's kind of a modified, what I would call needle nose pliers, right? These are my new favorites here. The reduction in length increases the stiffness at the tip a huge amount. And so kind of for what I would call general purpose work, these are, I found them to be pretty superior. They got a good cutter on them, and they've got some pretty aggressive serrations. This is your friendly nut rounder gripper there, but you know, it does have its place. In particular, I carry this in my electrical bag, you know, grabbing small fittings and things like that to tighten them up and whatnot. So anyway, let's just compare. So the tips are a lot stiffer because you can see the traditional needle nose, or the what I would call fine needle nose. I guess these got hot at some point. You can see how much thinner they are. So, you know, it never fails that you're always trying to grab something way out at the tips and grab it pretty hard, right? You know, these are the first ones you pick up, right? Well, you don't always need that reach. You know, you can see they're considerably longer, an inch longer. You don't always need that reach, and these really put the beans to it here. Just the nice thick tip. You know, it's basically a truncated version of this, right? With some additional features, the cutter feature and all that. So if you're going to take one pair of pliers up the ladder, this is probably a pretty good one. So now that kind of brings up these here. These are very fine tip here, you know, about 1/8 by 1/8. I don't know, actually less than 3 millimeters at the tip square, which is pretty small. So, you know, grabbing small stuff. And then here's yet another version by them, by Snap-on. These, I was attracted to these because they have this little notch here, this pin holding feature, and it's got a little V-groove. Let's see here, I got a piece of welding rod here. They got a little V-groove feature there that really you know, allows you to insert small pins and things like that. So that was kind of what was attractive. And I guess the idea here is, it's I guess you need a bigger pin. I don't happen to have one, but the straight on thing, I've used that many times with these, and grabbing a little dowel pin to pull it out, or put one in, or start a roll pin in a weird place, things like that. So anyway, but these are kind of my new favorites here. Let's get these out of the picture here. And then their big brother. So I got so excited when I found these, you know, and I started using them. I was pretty happy with them, right? And I get an email from Snap-on that says, "Oh, hey, look at these other new pliers that we have," and that's these monkeys here. And so this is like, I don't know, needle nose on steroids, I guess, is what we would call these. But these have also some interesting features, if you're into pliers like I am, right? Certainly they open up. They got 3 positions: small, medium, which is almost parallel, which is kind of nice, and then large. So these would actually be good around the welding bench for picking things up, flipping little parts over or whatnot. It's got a cutter, although maybe not optimal for cutting off MIG wire, because it's not a flush cut or semi-flush cut like that, right? And look at these serrations on these things. I mean, this is this, you know, alligator meat grinder here, right? So you got coarse, medium, and then fine. And so the jury's out on these right now. I've been using these for a little while now, and I guess we're in the honeymoon period, I guess you'd call it. So we're getting to know each other and see how we can help each other. So I guess that's what I would call this. And there's the part number if you're interested in those. Let's see, does this have there's the part number there on those guys. Let's see, does this have a part number? Yep. So there's all the part numbers if you want to pause the video and hook onto some of those yourself if you're interested. You know, Snap-on, they're pretty proud of their stuff. It's pretty expensive. You know, they got this lifetime guarantee, but that isn't such a big sell anymore because a lot of companies have it now too. So, but they have some unique tools, and to me, that's what I'm looking at. I don't care the brand necessarily. I'm looking at the uniqueness of the tool and the how I can apply that to my workflow, right? So, okay, let's talk about these next. So, you know, every wannabe electrician has a set of lineman pliers, and this is what this style's called here. And you know, I hunted around for the features that I wanted. There's many types of lineman, or varieties, I should say, that have slightly different features. You know, I'm not a professional electrician by any stretch, so I was looking for, you know, kind of one that did everything that I thought I might need to do. And so obviously, you know, it's a pair of pliers that, you know, you can twist and grab and cut. But in addition, they're a hammer. And because this is what you got when you're up the ladder or up on the man lift or whatever. And so it's kind of a your Leatherman of the electrician world, I guess, is how you would put it. You know, I have quite a few of these Knipex tools, and they're good. They have some really interesting features, and they're very useful, and I'm kind of in love with them, I guess you could say. So anyway, I kind of leaned in this direction, and this particular set had some of the features that I was looking for. One is it has a crimper here, right? So you can crimp lugs without having to grab a separate crimper out, right? Which is, you know, which is a deal. This also has, and you see this angle here. So when you're pulling wires, you're using a fish tape, right? Well, this is a fish tape grabber here, and the fish tape is roughly this cross section, and the idea is it fits in here like this. And now you got some purchase on that. You can pull on it for all you know, and it doesn't kink the wire. If you grab the fish tape up here, it wears out your serrations, and then it you know, chatters up the fish tape. So you can slip that fish tape in here, get a pull, slide up, get another pull, slide up, etc. Right? So that was another feature that I wanted. I haven't used that feature yet, but oh, it's got a little bit of rust on it. And then let's see, what was the other thing? Oh, the other thing is my old arthritic hands. I wanted, you know, pretty serious padding on it, right, or squishiness, right? So anyway, these kind of had all those, and it has this little bonus lanyard loop or whatever, but I don't work up on man lifts that much. So anyway, those are some of the features that I was looking for. Once again, jury's out on this. I'm trying them, test driving them, honeymoon period, I guess you would call it. So far so good. And then these, you guys have seen these alligator or crocodile. What are they called? Are these alligators? What are these? These are Cobra. Cobra, and then these are Cobras too, but they have a modified tip. So these, everybody's seen these, I think, and they're good. I used to prefer the slip joint type, but now I like the button type because they stay set. Example, conduit connectors, right? You want to set these for the size that you want, and then just drop them in your pocket or in the tray, and pick them up again, and they're still set to the same size, right? And the slip joint ones tend to, when you drop them, you know, you're working, boom, you drop them, they change sizes. So these more positive locking ones are my preference now for that reason, okay? So this is, and there's nothing unique here. This is the one that's unique. And I bought this on a whim, right? I said, oh, look, they got a different style with this reduced thing. Well, I'll tell you what it's really good for, and it's kind of an abusive use of it, but electricians, they'll appreciate it, is when you're knocking out these knockouts, these really work good. You can whap that knockout, and then they're, you know, if you only bend it in a little bit, these thinner jaws you can get a hold of it and just pop it loose. So for that one use, this is my pair that I work with, right? So this knocks out the knockouts, and this holds either side of the conduit connector or the box connector or whatever it is, right? And then you can crank those down on the conduit, and Bob's your uncle, right? So that's so they got a pecking nose on them I don't want to knock the knockout out, but the idea is you can direct the hit right where you want it, and it's just subtly better than that. Once again, these are kind of minor, when you get to my age and the number of tools that I have, you're looking for these little tiny features that just make you smile when you use them, and because they work really well. So I don't know how the rest of you guys do that. A lot of guys, I think, just use the lineman pliers to knock these out, right? Which you can do. You can turn them sideways and get a good hit, right? But they're so thick, you really got to knock it far to get a hold of it, and it works, right? It works. Like I said, I just found that use on that one to be pretty good. Okay, that's it for pliers. All right, so this next one's a power tool. You guys know I'm kind of a hacksaw junkie, right? And I use my hand hacksaw quite a bit. When Stan was up here from Bar Z Industrial, he had a portable bandsaw, cordless one, and it's in Milwaukee, and it's the big monster one, of course, because Stan's a big kind of monster guy, right? He's a big dude, and he can one-hand that thing. It was a little heavy for me for one-handed, but the utility of the thing without the cord was pretty good, right? Now, I'll confess that I've used one of these before. We bought one at work, and I've used it at work, and I'm like, oh, this thing's pretty good, right? And for cutting conduit, unistrut, small diameter rods and things like that, right? It's light enough that you can one-hand it. This particular model, the Makita, and this is the battery system that I have, guys. So it's I'm sure Milwaukee makes one that's really good too, with the fuel batteries and all that. But to me, the utility, I'm not going to abandon hundreds of dollars in batteries and tools just to switch to another battery system. So, and this one works great, actually. So I'm starting to use it more for, cutting off little pieces of bar stock and flat bar and things like that I was using my hacksaw for. So it's got a kind of a crappy clip that's made to hang on a 2x4 or something like that, which it should hang on the railing of a man lift. To me, that's too big, right? So whatever. But anyhow, I got a little spot where it hangs on over near the vise, and now I'm reaching for this instead of my hacksaw. Now, it doesn't work in every case because it's got a kind of a small throat, and depending on which side of the vise you're on, this interferes with the vise when you're cutting. So this got some issues, right? That the hacksaw doesn't have, right? A manual hacksaw. So, but it's you can hold a piece of conduit. And cut it off, and it's controllable. The blade speeds of, if you look at the blade speed, it's a little fast for steel, so they want to sell lots of blades, I guess. So, heads up on that. If you're cutting stainless, this is not going to hold up probably. This is a bimetal blade, right? But the blade speed's a little high, probably even for steel. So I think, let's see, I don't remember. They listed it sneakily in RPM or something like that instead of feet per minute, right? And let me get rid of these these chips here. And, you know, so anyway, like I said, I'm starting to really like this tool. I'm using it a lot, and you know, the relationship's going pretty good, I can say. And it uses the batteries I already have. Also, heads up, it'll only accept the higher amp hour batteries. You can't use the little 2 amp hour batteries to reduce the weight of the tool. These are heavier, right? So some of Makita's sneaky that way in that they, some of their tools you have to use the larger batteries on, right? And you know, it's a minor thing. There's a kind of an interlock in these grooves here that prevents you from using the small batteries. You know, if you had one cut, the small battery would be fine. It's just not going to last a bunch of cuts. But the tool would be physically lighter too. So anyway, Tom's 2 cents worth, and I'm liking this tool, and I'm enjoying using it, and I keep it right near the vise. This is a local garage sale, or I don't know, barn sale find here. I've never seen one of these before. I mean, you know, I've seen crowsfoot wrenches and those kinds of things, but I've never seen an adjustable wrench, crowsfoot wrench like this. And so, of course, I bought it, right? I don't know, it was $1 or $2 or something like that. So this is a Williams number SC8, and it looks like it's part of an 8-inch adjustable wrench that they've added a half-inch drive receiver onto. And so, I don't know, it's I've used it already when I was hooking up the high-pressure hose water lines on the EDM. There's a cluster of them that come together kind of right on top of each other, and you know, it's a piss poor setup, right? And for reaching in there to snug these up, they're flare or tapered seat fittings, right? But this actually worked pretty good because I was able to come in underneath and rotate these where there was no room to rotate them, and so it kind of worked out pretty good. Like I said, I've never seen one of these before. Kind of cool. Added to my my adjustable wrench drawer, which I'm going to show you in a second, because one of the things I've been doing, you know, as part of shop organization and stuff, is these drawers are pissing me off. So when I finally get frustrated enough, I pull all the stuff out of them, and I'm adding a new drawer liner material in the bottoms of the drawers. So let's check that out, and when I put this away, okay? So this is my adjustable wrench drawer, and this it's a mess right now. And you can see here, hopefully you can see that. See that space? Well, you know, I spent a bunch of money and I bought this plastic or rubber matting, this ribbed rubber matting for drawer liners, right? You know, and they don't give this stuff away. It's $3 a foot, or you know, whatever it is. I can't remember now. It's been a while. But here's what happens to it, in particular when the weather changes and whatnot. So you see this going on back here. So what's happening is every time I close the drawer, right, it's scooching up and it's piling up in the back, right? And it's, you know, it's basically useless, okay? So, and not so much because the tools slide on it, that's not that big of a deal. But the fact that it's not staying put in the drawer, that's kind of the complaint here, I think. So this drawer is going to be happening pretty soon, but I got one below it that annoyed me enough. You know, my plier drawer, which is almost as bad, but I reorganized this a little bit and moved. There were some other things in here that I moved to a different location. And what I've put in here is this, it's this pig mat, it's this adhesive backed sticky floor mat. So let me grab a piece here. And you can kind of see it. And I've showed this before, and I've been finding all kinds of crazy uses for it. So this is the stuff here. It comes 3 feet wide, about 1 meter wide, and it's got sticky on the back. And you know, it's kind of a, if I had to describe the surface, I would call it like felt, which is actually pretty nice drawer liner, right? Now, I think it's designed to be grippy with, you know, shoes and things like that, and it's to scrub the crud off the bottom of your shoes. So you cut a piece of this, you put it near a doorway, people walk in on it, and they wipe their feet off, etc., right? Well, Pig sent me a couple of rolls of this stuff to fool around with, and I'm finding all kinds of crazy uses for it. I got it on top of some surface plates to protect it. I put it, can you see this over here? Oh yeah, over here. It needs to sit down and have some weight on it to stick, right? But here at the top of a cabinet that was pretty beat up, is now looks pretty nice, right? And drawer liners. Let's see what else. Shelf liners, where I've got like precision, you know, like angle plates and V-blocks and stuff like that, right? So I put this in there, and then I spritz this with LPS or some corrosion preventative stuff, and then just put the stuff right on top of that, and off I go. But anyway, and it's pretty cheap because it's you know, floor runner material, right? So it can't be too expensive or people won't buy it, right? So anyway, so I've been lining a bunch of drawers with it, and this one's probably next. You know, you can see the stuff shuffles around in there, but you know, unless you want to do one of those Kaizen foam cutout things, which are really cool, and you know, a really cool way to organize your tools, but it reduces your storage capacity by, you know, a factor of 3 at least, and but you'll know if something's missing. So, ground clamps. So this is your ubiquitous stupid ground clamp. Okay, so everybody's got out there that has a welding machine has a ground clamp. This is a Jackson. You know, it's okay, and it's got a hell of a spring in it, and it's not, anyway, it's one of many bad designs, and you know, sure, it holds some flat stuff, you know, maybe you can get it on a piece of tubing or whatever, right? And just when you least appreciate it, you kick it loose accidentally, you know, in the process of your work, right? So for many years I've been frustrated by the lack of variety or the lack of good design features in ground clamps, right? And so, you know, you're kind of stuck. You got the formed sheet metal ones, you got the cast bronze or cast copper ones made by Tweco, which are, you know, they got a, you know, 500 cubic inch Chevy valve spring in them. You know, you know, you got to be an arm wrestling champion to open it an inch to get it on something. But and once again, as I get older, some of these things kind of make themselves known. You know, when you're younger, you just deal with it, right? And now, you know, you pay for it, right? For a couple of days. So anyway, I made my own, okay? And let me just show it to you because it's already on. Get it up here. And there it is. So it's a modified pair of vice grips. And these are vice grip 12LC, which, you know, I never really found a good use for these, this model of vice grips, right? So I modified them. I formed some copper, and I TIG brazed the copper on there, and I made a place to mount the lug, and then I added a loom on either side to support the cable, and I just kind of used waxed string to secure that as a strain relief there on the lug, right? So you can see that's one of the weaknesses here is there's no strain relief, and it's garbage, right? Now this particular cable is really old. This welding machine and this ground clamp came from Lawrence Livermore, the sealed bid sale many years ago. So this is, I don't know, it's probably 30 years old at least, I would think. And so it's showing its age, and you can see just handling it, I'm getting some of this crud out. You know, I'm sick of this stupid thing. So anyway, this is my new ground clamp. It has a huge range, and it locks. That's the big deal, right? So you can put it on something. Okay, and you guys all know how vice grips work. Click, hey, I'm on there, and it stays. And I got a good electrical contact here. I can clamp on 3-inch pipe, or maybe not 3-inch pipe, 2-inch pipe at least, right? 3-inch diameter. 3-inch pipe is, what is it, 3.5 or whatever. But anyway, so I got a firm grip. So anyway, that's the Oxtools ground clamp, Mark 1. So I've been using it for a while now, and I'm pretty happy with it so far. And this is some ultra flexible, real fine braid ground cable here, and which is the other thing. This is 4/0 nasty crap, and this is another nice feature here, is it's got a real flexible cable. So Oxtools ground clamp. Thank you very much. Well, that's about it for this one here. And like I said, I'm back on the horse. I'm going to be shooting regular video, and you guys will get regular updates. Lots of great comments on the last email. Thank you all very much. I know a lot of you were very concerned about me, and well, here I am. I haven't gone away yet. So I appreciate all the really nice comments. Thank you guys. I answered some, and I'll probably go back through again and answer a few more. So I got a couple of pictures to show you, some other projects that I've been working on around the ranch. I built a dog Mahal, like a Taj Mahal for dogs. We got these 3 little rugrats, and they don't like to do their business in the rain and the cold, so they had to get a house of their own pretty much. So anyway, got a picture of that. Some guys asked about my new truck. I made a headache rack for the back of the truck, you know, stuff like that. So a few random pictures to close out the video, and catch you on the next one, and stay sharp.